Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Father of a Stolen Child, also known as Refracted Curvature, 10th Man, Arwin, Neil, Elijah, did I miss anybody? And a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Greetings all.
Good afternoon.
Hey, good morning.
What's up? What's up?
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, welcome one and all. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
The third option. It's the third option, Nathan.
What are the first two options, Arwin?
The Earth rotating underneath everything, and the second option is nothing rotating. Everything moves with it. But there's a third option, apparently. Only nobody actually told me what it is yet.
Anybody know what the official globe option is? Because obviously these are options as opposed to demonstrable effects we can all see happening.
It should be the first one.
What's the first one again?
Earth rotating underneath. And things deviating because of that. Right? That's the official story.
Can you get a bit closer to your? Can you get a bit closer to your mic, Arwin? You weren't here for the pre-show sound check. Just a bit far away, I think.
All right. Is this better? So the official position of the heliocentric narrative is that the Earth rotates underneath the air, because the official globe doesn't disclaim the second law of thermodynamics, or it's the first law of thermodynamics that, like, they don't claim that air can move in lockstep, right? Because it can't, and they don't claim it. They leave that to the anti-flat earthers to claim that. Once it is established that the Earth doesn't actually rotate underneath everything.
Perfect.
Well, you got a problem. You got a problem there because their official stance is the 15-degree movement of the sun, the transit of the sun, is due to Earth rotating, not the sun moving over motionless Earth.
Correct. The official claim is a Coriolis deflection, 15 degrees an hour turn of the Earth, causing things in the inertial reference frame to appear to drift because Earth's turning beneath them. Exampled by snipers claim to have to track their targets because long-distance shots will have Earth turn beneath the bullet after it leaves the reference frame that's spinning. Therefore, they need to compensate for Earth turning beneath the bullet. Or Neil deGrasse Tyson saying a winning field goal was the direct result of Earth's turning. Now that is a second reference frame turning beneath the ball after it leaves the turning reference frame. That would be Coriolis effect. And I'm sure you've all heard of Coriolis effect because it's usually convoluted into a claim that Earth spins. Now that is a claim that has two reference frames. An inertial reference frame which the projectile will be travelling through, regardless if it's a hot air balloon, a drone, a football, a hot air balloon, doesn't matter. Something that is not attached to a roundabout. And Earth is claimed to be that roundabout. And it is claimed that while you're on that roundabout, you'll see things drift. That's Coriolis effect. You have to be on a roundabout turning beneath things to see the effect. When we point out, as Arwin's just explained, that we don't see that effect, it's left to the anti-flat earthers to tell us that there's only one reference frame, Earth moving with all the atmosphere and no effect to see. Of course, this causes a problem, because flat earthers aren't in any need of flat earth reference frames. So when Simon Dan tells us you and your reference frames are ruined, no. Neil deGrasse Tyson and his claim of 2 reference frames and drift to observe are ruined when you, Simon Dan, show us an example with 1 reference frame and no drift. Or, and I quote, Earth does not turn underneath, end quote. Blue marble science, 1 reference frame. That's a big problem if you're a globe believer. It's definitely not a problem for us as flat earthers. This is something that the globe believers need to get squared, not us. So, write in the comments below. Not Nathan doesn't understand Coriolis, because that's kind of irrelevant when you've got NDT saying Earth turns beneath a football and Blue Marble saying Earth does not turn underneath. Those 2 things are very different.
Flatzoid's video, by the way.
No.
Did you, Nathan? Ooh, it was so good. I already linked it up in the YouTube chat, but it's definitely worth watching. He edited together actual on-screen video clips and sound bites from Neil deGrasse Tyson and Blue Marble Science in the most hilarious fashion.
I have seen his video. I was saying no to somebody else with my mic open. Owen, I'm sorry. Yes, Flatzoid's video I took a chunk of because he went to the trouble of digging out a few quotes from Neil deGrasse Tyson when he's describing with a globe how the ground beneath is a different reference frame. Yeah, he explains it quite clearly. Yeah, Blue Marble Science, not that I watch his crap, and I only come across it because people like Flatzoid publish it, is making it clear that there's no drift to be seen. And where would Tyson say that Earth turns beneath a football? He didn't say that now, did he? Yes, Blue Marble, that is actually the globe claim of Coriolis deflection, and we've got examples where he says it, and shows it, and has a ball turning beneath at different rates. I've even been sent quotes from Penn State that make it explicitly clear that the globe claims 2 reference frames. That would be the projectile surges east ahead of the lagging ground below. That's Penn State saying 2 reference frames in line with NDT and very much not in line with Blue Marble Science's 1 reference frame, end quote. No, Blue. No, you're just wrong and don't understand the globe claim of 2 reference frames, made explicitly clear by Penn State and Neil deGrasse Tyson now. You seem to think that it's me that doesn't understand when it's Neil deGrasse Tyson asserting Earth turns beneath a football. And you're telling me he never said Earth turns beneath a football? Yes, he did. You're just wrong. We just point out that doesn't happen when Neil deGrasse claims it, and you have to justify why it doesn't happen by telling us 1 reference frame. Right? Well, we know this problem very well. And now it's not our problem anymore. Now it's Blue Marble versus NDT when he says, you think Earth should turn beneath? Yeah, NDT does think Earth should turn beneath Blue Marble. Me, I don't think that. So this isn't capable of being repositioned into an argument you need to shout at me about. I'll just laugh as you tell Neil deGrasse Tyson that Earth doesn't turn beneath to give him 15 degrees an hour drift in the form of Coriolis effect, something that's supposed to be proving Earth spins. And you're telling him, quote, Earth is not turning underneath, end quote, Blue Marble Science. How beautifully epic.
The situation between them is spinning out of control.
Between them, Neil deGrasse Tyson and Blue Marble, yeah, definitely not my problem or your problem though, eh, Arwin?
Well, in the absence
Indeed,
of
it's just very amusing to behold.
in the absence of Coriolis, Earth-based Coriolis, both positions are wrong.
Oh, absolutely. But we need them to commit to one of them. When we say both globe positions are wrong, we've got 2 globe positions. Notice that's not a flat Earth position and a globe position for you to start asking me about my understanding of Coriolis effect. We need to start asking Blue Marble about his understanding of Coriolis effect, given he's only got 1 reference frame. And when I point that out, he asks me if I understand what reference frames are, like I need to claim them. No, you need to go and ask Neil deGrasse Tyson, because he says you've got 2 of them. And you've only got 1, haven't you, Blue? You on the globe with 1 reference frame, and you on the globe with 2, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Comprende? Not my problem.
Yeah, we got a problem, Houston. Neil says the football drifted, but the Goodyear blimp filming the game didn't. So he's got a problem.
Neil, can you shut up and stop interrupting everything? What is it with you in this football?
That was me.
I thought you were saying that Neil was interrupting again.
No, Neil deGrasse.
Oh, you need to be...
we gotta
be more clear.
Change his name to NDT like you do, Nathan.
NDT says the football drifts, but then we say, how come the Goodyear blimp didn't drift, which was filming the game? So he's got a problem there. Blue Marble says nothing drifts. So we got a problem there. Not we, but the ballers and the anti-flat earthers.
Yeah, exactly. Simon Dan, you have a big problem. You sent me a video that shows an example with one reference frame and a man not drifting. Neil deGrasse Tyson says Earth has 2 reference frames and will turn beneath footballs. So you, like Blue Marble Science, seem to think that me and my reference frames, what the 2 that Neil deGrasse Tyson uses, are ruined. Well, I don't need reference frames. But who does? Oh yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson needs reference frames, 2 of them, to assert that Earth turns beneath a football. But yet you want to show me examples of men not drifting, Dan? Seems like you're on the same stupid side as Blue Marble Science now, aren't you, Dan? Telling me, the flat earther, that why would I expect to see drift? I wouldn't. I'm not making that claim, but your own side is. So, Simon Dan, given that that was addressed to me, I think you got the address wrong on your tweet. It should have been addressed to Neil deGrasse Tyson. Now, shouldn't it, Dan? You should have been telling deGrasse Tyson that, like we tell him, by the way, there's no drift to see, Tyson. Here's an example of a man not drifting, Tyson. What do you mean you think Earth should turn underneath, Tyson? It doesn't. Duh. That's what you need to get on, Blue Marble and Neil and Simon Dan. You need to get on the case. You know, we're in line with you boys. No drift to see, Mr. Tyson, says all the flat earthers and all the anti-flat earthers. Everyone in the flat earth debate says no drift, Tyson. So, something's got to give here, right? It's not going to be me.
I disagree with 10th, though. He said it's not our problem. It is our problem because we got to keep re-explaining and re-explaining and re-breaking down and over the same nonsense over and over again. By the way, I hope you trimmed out Akumo Virus yesterday, agreeing that the Earth is flat.
Yes, thank you for reminding me of that. I told you in the pre-show I got a right earful off my wife for that.
Got to do it on a sneak.
Yeah, I might as well tell the live audience. So in the pre-show I was explaining that during the time my wife does her work, I'm supposed to look after the kids. And by look after the kids, I mean give 100% of my attention to whatever they're doing, not just make sure they've got they're occupied and I can then sneak off and edit a video, which is what I did. So I got right earful today. Anyway, and when I told everyone on the panel in the pre-show, it was met with silence, and I'm like, oh, obviously no one can relate to this. And then one by one, everyone was like, yeah, me too. I've been getting told off.
Yeah, I disagree with Neil. I think we address their problem because it's not our problem.
How many times are you going to do it, though?
Until they catch our drift.
Daily, 2 p.m. UK time. Be here or be
Catch
sphere.
our drift.
Yeah,
But the
we'll do it
problem is
daily.
we don't have any drift.
That's right. Just to answer your question, though, we do it daily, and while a regular anti-flat Earth audience member might say, hey, it's just the same thing again. Yeah, unfortunately, 99% of the Western world still think they're on a sphere. And when we point out that you can't triangulate your position if you're on a sphere, it doesn't work, or we point out that you haven't got a geometric horizon, or we point out that there isn't any drift, suddenly we're met with these crazy arguments from what are now described as anti-flat earthers, where they tell us positions that don't actually help a globe proof actually ever manifest. So, for example, you won't see any drift. So we won't see the 15 degrees an hour drift we've got claimed to prove we spin then. Oh, welcome to stationary Earth. No, you don't understand. I assume it spins and the air spins with it in violation of the first law of thermodynamics. Didn't you know that? Because if you didn't, I'll go after your job. And you go, whoa, this is a crazy arena to be debating in now, isn't it? Or when you point out that you need a geometric tangent point horizon for the maths that asserts geometry, they tell us the geometric horizon only exists in the maths, we wouldn't expect to see it. You go, you're telling me the horizon's not Earth curve, we wouldn't expect to see Earth curve, a geometric horizon. And they tell us, yeah, you wouldn't expect to see Earth curve. The Earth curve's not the horizon. Nobody claims the horizon is Earth curve. That's literally what we get told as flat earthers by anti-flat earthers, who have obviously realised that we've overcome all the actual globe arguments, and now all that's left to do is argue amongst us about how wrong the globe is. Because, to add to that, we've got Blue Marble telling the globe believers that there's only one reference frame and no drift to observe. I mean, we'll all unite eventually. Obviously, the Earth is flat, so they're gonna be on our side eventually. They already are, even though they don't appreciate it. But they're telling their own priests how wrong they are. Blue Marble's telling Neil deGrasse Tyson you're wrong. No drift. Duh, Earth not turning beneath. Neil deGrasse Tyson being the person being addressed by Blue. Not me. Fun times, though, if you're a flat earther. We'll do it daily. And now a shout out to our sponsors, which is every single person watching, because this channel's miles too small to actually sustain an income from. So all of the people who support me, and I say this in the chats, I am so grateful, because if you didn't, I wouldn't be doing this daily and pointing out how obviously, observably and navigatably, measurably flat the world is. So thank you to all of the sponsors of the show. Hit the PayPal link in Super Chat.
Isn't their argument that the sun is moving is caused by Earth rotation? So they actually are saying there is drift at the same time?
Yeah, sun rotation is the same exact claim. It's Coriolis deviation, the apparent deflection of the sun as a result of you turning beneath it. That's literally Coriolis effect. Looking at something that isn't actually moving only appears to move because you are moving beneath it. Did a few shorts on this, including reading out the GIF in Wikipedia where there's 2 or 3 sentences that describe the not actual deflection of something that travels in a straight line but only appears to curve because you're turning beneath it. I read out exactly word for word and did it as a 30-second short with the GIF on screen so you can see what the red dot, claimed to be you observing something seem to drift, would see from both reference frames, one where the ball actually has a straight path because that's what it's actually doing, and the other where it appears to curve because you're on a roundabout turning beneath it. Like you being on a turning Earth, turning beneath a bullet, and having to fix that because it causes a problem. Or a ball curving through the goal because Earth turned beneath it, moving the goalposts. Yeah, that's Earth turning beneath second reference frame as claimed by the globe. Definitely not Earth's only got one reference frame. Everything moves together. There's no drift to see, you idiot. The idiot being Neil deGrasse Tyson, who says there is 2 reference frames and drift to observe. Substantially so. I can't quote him verbatim, but he says there'll be a substantial effect depending on how long it is in the air. There's a quote for Blue Marble Science. Oh, it doesn't claim Earth's turning beneath. Oh, right. He says there's a substantial effect depending on how long it's in the air, my friend. So, yeah, he definitely says 2 reference frames. And how long it's up there is going to change the effect. Precisely our argument, I might add, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Because hot air balloons are in the air for a significantly longer period than bullets and balls. So you definitely see the effect in them, wouldn't you? Significantly. End quote. We move on? Any more on axial rotation and the humiliation that the globe marble and NDT argument has descended into for them? Yeah, Nathan, we're really keen.
Yeah, unless someone in Discord who's either a baller or an anti-flat earther wants to ask a question, I think we should move on because I think the whole thing is preposterous.
Anybody from Discord want to continue this discussion as it's very of the moment in regards to the 1 reference frame that Blue Marble and Simon Dan have and the 2 reference frames that's been shown on screen by Penn State? Quote, although this is describing how it's oversimplistic to say Earth simply rotates underneath, that is absolutely what Penn State are saying because they specifically say, in effect, the projectile surges east ahead of the lagging ground below. So Penn State have got 2 reference frames with Earth turning beneath, and Blue Marble says 1 reference frame. Earth doesn't turn underneath, end quote, Blue Marble. And this is a big problem for you if you're a fundy and a globe believer, because your side has two positions simultaneously held, one that has drift, 2 reference frames, and one that doesn't, 1 reference frame. Blue marble has 1, no drift, 2C, and NDT has 2, drift, 2C, Earth turns underneath. Big problem for you fundies. Anybody on the Discord server want to address that in any way? If not, we're going to move on. I'll take that as a no. Shout out to Mike.
Hang on, Nathan.
Go on.
Hang on, Nathan. Just give it another couple of seconds of silence. No one is standing up for the official globe model.
Or the unofficial flat Earth, anti-flat Earth, no drift model either.
Come on. Stand up. No one?
Shout out to Mike808 for the super chat. Thank you very much indeed. He gives me a sheep jumping up and down in a kind of moon-like manner. Weird. Brilliant super sticker. Thank you very much indeed. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon formerly known as Earth curve?
Well, if they're not going to stand up for rotation of the Earth to have Earth-based Coriolis, what makes you think anyone's going to stand up for this one? Who would ever think a ball should have a curve? God forbid.
Who indeed? The horizon is not Earth curve. We only have one horizon, and the horizon in the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator is physical and geometric. If you're a globe believer, your horizon is Earth curve, and we have debunked the horizon as a physical geometric sphere edge, formerly known as Earth curve. The horizon is not Earth curve.
Well, the ballers can't even get to the point where they start to recognize within geometry that spheres have an edge, right? They'll go into a debate about that and how that's wrong. So how are they going to be made to understand the in-world geometrical consequences of their claim of ball Earth?
Yeah, I have a standardised reply in the chat. If you've got children watching, cover their ears. So I say, the edge of my balls can block the view of my feet, but the horizon being a sphere edge to block boats and buildings was debunked by the Black Swan. You can uncover their ears now.
Yeah, man, the ballers, they lost their edge in the argument. They really
certainly did.
lose.
I had to interrupt a great string of puns to do the intro. I'd already run over by 1 minute before starting the live show, and I was like, too many good puns coming. Spinning out of control? No. I thought that would spark off those puns to reoccur, but clearly not.
Spinning out of control, losing their edge, losing their marbles. Yeah, it all applies.
Yeah, Eli said they won't come on the show because they don't want to risk being in the eye of the storm.
Their arguments are swirling down the drain.
Yes, but he said it so calm, like he was getting ready to present another claim.
Well, according to Kosho, the
Calm before the storm?
The eye of the storm, according to Kosho, would be a tangent point on a straight line. Figure that one out.
Yeah, he says the winds go straight.
Hurricane Kosho.
Yeah, so after being pointed out that Coriolis is only a not actual deflection, apparent, meaning appearing, but not actual, not really curving, he said, yeah, hurricanes are moving in a straight line. It's because we're turning beneath them that they look like they're turning. It's like, really? Your so-called satellite images from a sky vacuum depict them as actually turning, like with an actual spin direction, not a deflection that we see because we're turning beneath them on a roundabout. Not seeming to curve, they're actually curving. That's definitely not Coriolis effect. Coriolis is a not actual deflection, only capable of being caused if you turn beneath things. And of course, once he realised that, oh well, hurricanes move straight, don't they? For this to make sense for me on a globe.
So Nathan, given the geometric limitation of their sphere model based on 3959 at a 1 foot observer height, it should be at no more than 1.22 miles out. For all these years, they've been saying the reason the bottom of boats and buildings disappears due to the curvature of the Earth. Now they're saying, no, we're wrong because of the geometric limitations. We can never see the geometric physical horizon. So they're left to perspective. And they even gloat that it's perspective now, but still hold on to a shape that's not there, i.e. the globe.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Yes, supposedly dielectric acceleration is now gravity.
That's not the official claim, though.
That's what I heard in a pre-show.
From who? Where is that officially claimed? I mean, I'm pretty sure that gravity is still in the process of being discovered, as it were, because they don't exactly know what it is yet. Besides being a conceptual medium-based thing of space-time bending.
They don't know what watt is. It is a nothing. There's no such thing as what they call gravity.
Okay then. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
It depends what you identify what the hypothesis is.
Well, don't most of these theories actually utilize gravity in one way or the other?
Hypothesis is the supposition of cause of a naturally occurring phenomena, yet to be validated.
Okay, so they see something in the sky, in the night sky. There's your phenomenon. Now, how are they going to validate it in the scientific method? What can they do? What can't they do at this point?
Well, what they must do if they're following the scientific method is suppose a cause and vary that presumed cause to see if it causes the effect they're studying.
So they need to put their hands on what they think the cause is and change it up a bit. So that would be light in the sky.
I'm not supposing the cause for them. The effect I'll talk about all day because we can detail the effects, right?
Well, the DV, the IV,
What if they're
and the
just
CV.
asking
So
a what is question?
Can you repeat that for 10th benefit?
What if they're just asking a what is question about what the stars are?
Then it's not open to inquiry by way of scientific methodology because it's not got an observed phenomena to study. You need an effect, something occurring. If you're studying a concrete noun, it's not why is a tree is a concrete noun. It's why does the leaf fall off the tree? That's an occurrence, a phenomena that you can study and suppose the cause of. So it's outside scientific method if there's just a concrete noun being asked a question about.
Yeah. So how do they go about answering what is a star? They can't use any scientific method for that.
Well, but they can apply a lot of peer review storytelling, though. Stories agreed upon.
Observation and declaration.
Right, a couple of shout outs. So shout out to Godzilla37. This one's titled How to Trigger Ballers for Less Than $5 US. Thanks for the super chat. Also, Mike808, thank you very much again for the super chat or super sticker with hippos coming up from beneath the water. Really appreciate it. What should I call this show?
too early to tell. You've covered reference frames, Coriolis.
Yeah, those are the things we've talked about, but how do you meld that
And-
into the...
Hurricane Kosho.
NDT versus Blue Marble. We've covered a bunch.
Done that already loads. Hurricane Kosho it is.
Hurricane Kosho.
Yeah, but all the stuff that I'm seeing on YouTube from these people about black holes and all these things that they would have had to have done the scientific method to even know the cause. But they're saying everything without doing the scientific method, nor can they even attempt to do it, because how are they going to get out there, which is not even there because outer space is fake? I mean, they just die at every turn.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
It's over there. Oh, if you want an alternative title, or you could use another day, you could also call it Baller Claims Spinning Out of Control or something.
I don't know the distance to the sun, but I do know their claim is that it's vast distance away, so that light comes in parallel. But what we see with our eyes, and is beyond reproach, is that light comes in at funny angles, divergent rays. So one thing for sure, it's not far, far away like they say.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
You would need R for that.
Oh, come on, Discord. There's usually so many takers for this question. Molten iron core? Nobody tempted? No?
Yeah, I don't even
Who
see any
came up
chat
with the-
skanks out here.
You got what out well? Sorry, Stag?
I said I don't even see any chat skanks in the chat. It's pretty quiet.
Oh, you're
Oh,
the
no.
good fisherman.
No chat skanks. Yeah, keep it up.
Oh, that was you calling me out yesterday, Neil? I thought it was you. I didn't want to presume though. Yeah, I did. It was
So-
nothing was happening except for Okumu yesterday, but we got him.
So Stag Lee is the fisherman. Okay. Well, drop your line.
He's not the only one, but yeah, for sure. Okay, last but by no means least. Go
I
on.
got an detailed response. The molten iron core. I wanted to ask. I don't know if I asked it before, but who actually came up with that? That there was supposed. Who first started to break that story about the molten iron core?
I think it was Ian. Was it Ian? I'm pretty sure it was Ian.
I thought it was Aunt Thea.
What? Which Ian?
I don't know. I just made it up.
Okay, so it's not like. What was the first time it was found to be written down and signed by somebody? Like in books, in an encyclopedia. Who
Gotcha.
came up with it?
Anybody know when the molten iron core postulation was first documented? Anybody have the answer to that? Talking to the audience as well. If you want to drop it in chat, if somebody knows in chat, drop it as a comment, or drop it in the live stream now if you know on the spot. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know who came up with
I
that
said
garbage.
it was Aunt Thea reading a bedtime story.
So Aunt Thea is the planet that's claimed to have smashed in at a glancing blow to the fledgling Earth, depositing its molten iron core and its debris coalescing through bending space-time into the moon. That's the story of Thea.
And I'm pretty sure that story came much, much later. That's
Maybe.
like the how did it come into being, right? But who came up with like, yeah, there's all molten iron in the middle of this ball? Who first said that? Officially.
Ian, wasn't it?
Turns out there's a magic speed that caused it.
No doubt. Every time something absolutely ridiculous happens, it's always a magic speed, but
Oh, I thought you said it was always Ian.
I know people that are called Ian. It's really weird when you say that.
I know people too.
It's like, which
Let's-
Ian?
Let's move on. This is the longest we've had on the molten iron core for about a week or two. Any evidence you can have gas pressure, that's the stuff we're breathing, without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon. Hello? Any evidence of gas pressure without a container?
Well, you require at least 2 containers for that in order to simulate a scenario as if there were no containers. But literally without a container is not possible to demonstrate in our current setup.
What are you trying to say? Are you saying I should add that to the question? Any evidence of gas pressure without a container, but, you know, if you need 2 containers to demonstrate gas pressure without a container, that's cool. That's okay.
Right.
No, not right. What do you mean, right?
It still wouldn't work, though, you know?
Wasn't there in the...
Sorry, just one sec, Tim.
20-foot
Just one sec. Actually, Arwin, I want to commend you on that, because that you made, I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before yesterday or whenever it was, you made a bloody good point in that regard, which is to say that it is unachievable to assert that you can ever demonstrate gas pressure without a container, because every single attempt to example it will start with you in a contained system. Nature abhors a vacuum, so you can't have gas pressure without a container, and all examples will start with you in containment.
Indeed.
Can you mute, please, Tenth? You're causing a bit of chaos.
Well, the other day on 24/7, they were talking about atmospheric pressure is different than gas pressure. So how do you like that?
Well, atmo means air, and sphere is a fundamentalist religious presupposition that everything's sphere-shaped. So atmo, air, isn't sphere-shaped. That's an oxymoron. Air takes the shape of its container. It doesn't arbitrarily form the shape of a sphere to get around a second law of thermodynamics sky vacuum with air not expanding into it. Air is definitely not sphere-shaped. Oxymoron.
They said gravity, because of gravity, that's why raindrops are spherical.
Well, what about the gas that expanded up into the heavens in order to then later fall down with its disequilibrium after a phase change? The gas expanded in all directions to achieve that. So gravity, which is not a force, in no way has effect on all of, say, mass as they describe it, because steam has mass. It's going up, not down, go boom boom. And the rebuttal to that, well, all the gas around it's going down, go boom boom. No, it's not. Anisotropic inhomogeneous gases expand to fill the volume of space they have to fill.
I was going to say, Nathan, wasn't there a guy who put up a 20-foot pipe on the side of his house with an open top and claimed something?
Yeah, the guy with 2 containers. The guy brought in a container of butane and then transferred it into a pipe. A second container with an opening in it. A leaky container.
Is
Right,
that the
so-
best they can? Is that the best they can do?
It was the best Arwin
Yeah.
could do. That was Arwin's answer to it 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, you can't escape the container. Like, you're in a container. You're always in a container. So
Look, you don't want to trigger everyone, Arwin. That was a bad turn of phrase. Don't say you can't escape the container. You're going to have panic on your hands.
well, prove me wrong. Well, no, don't.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying that we're dealing with very temperamental people here. Yeah? Now, they like to believe that there's an ever-expanding soup of nothingness, making their lives kind of unimportant and insignificant because they're a speck of dust on a speck of dust. Now, when you juxtapose that with you can't escape the container, that's going to have some profound effects on some people who are watching. I'm just letting you know.
Well, Brian's logic said the other day that you can't have temperature without a container, you can't have pressure without a container, and you can't have a vacuum without a container. So what's left?
Can't have anything without a container. We need containment to be breathing. End of story, game over.
I mean, you can have concepts without containment. You don't need containment for love.
Yeah, you do. Because in order to experience love, you require a consciousness that has to be seated on life, which is dependent on the stability of natural elements, including gas pressure, which require containment.
Okay, give me, let's see, 100 millilitres of love, please.
I'm not gonna like quantitate it for you. I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure that very indirectly, love still requires containment because you have to be alive.
Okay, what about freedom?
etc.
Okay, what about freedom? I'll have half a
Well, in
gallon of
order-
it.
No, not gonna quantitate that either. But if it is something that is derived from the experience of being alive, then that kind of indirectly means it requires containment.
No, subjectively, I could describe freedom, write it down, die, and then have the description still be accurate to anybody who reads it. That's why I picked it. No containment needed for concepts. I'm just being facetious, Arwin. We don't have to drag this out.
So was I. So.
Are you really free if you're in the container?
What is freedom? Let's not get into this, eh? It's not the right platform for that. Go to a political forum. Go somewhere else. Freedom's...
You always have freedom, even in a containment. Right? You can, if you're contained physically, then you might find freedom mentally. And hey, if you are contained mentally, then a whole bunch of people will try to escape physically. Right?
Find it.
So,
there you go with those conceptual words being reified. Where do I find it? Have you got a map?
I was being philosophical, not natural science.
You said find it.
Find the freedom, experience the freedom, find the release of the apparent non-freedom, of the entanglement that makes you experience not being free.
You just don't concede, Arwin. Regardless of how bizarre or nonsensical the concept you're describing is, you're one of them in that regard. Stubborn baller.
Yeah, but I kind of did concede by saying that I'm not referring to natural sciences, though. So.
Oh, great weasel words. Discord's very quiet today. Are you all
mean
still there?
accurate?
You all still there? Just so I can cut this conversation out quickly. Yeah, we're all having loads of fun in the Discord. Yeah, we're loving it here. Oh, well, that's good to know. I mean, I'm really
we're
proud
still
of
here.
A lot of quiet souls. Room full of people.
They're grieving.
I don't
They're
know.
not
Really,
even.
though?
Yeah, they're not even writing. The chat skanks, as they're called, aren't even writing anymore. They're just grieving.
But are they grieving, or are they just bathing into the sun of knowledge?
Well, that's the perfect segue for me to actually ask. So maybe we can have an update on the chat skanks from Stogoli.
Maybe they're taking a strike because they haven't been paid enough to deal with our BS.
Do you not think...
We had too many concessions last night from Acomovardes anyway.
Oh, what
He's
about
been
him telling us how flat it must be to utilise areas of equal altitude with triangulation? Yeah, that was very useful. That was what I got an earful for. That's what will be out soon on the next edited video.
Yeah, he explained how he understood it.
Yeah, he explained
He's
how
right
he
there
knew.
with us.
Yeah, he agreed. Very useful it was for me editing it too.
Well, based on a figure from an article I sent him, he had said, well, you have like this cone and, you know, equidistant from the center of the earth, it's of equal altitude.
Oh, please. He's assuming a sphere.
Doesn't matter if it's a 3,000 mile distance or a 6,000 mile distance. That equal altitude from anywhere on the circle needs a right angle triangle. So it has to be flat base. So how does that work over 6,000 miles? If in the middle is the GP of the sun, and from any part of the circle, you're 3,000 miles away from it, but then the guy on the other side of the circle directly in line with you is also 3,000 miles away from it. That's 6,000 miles of flat.
Yeah. Do you want to say
main
that
part
again?
of all of that,
Hold on.
let me just say one thing. The main part of all of that was he was explained that it could not work on a flat Earth. I mean, it could not work on a sphere because it would drop away. You would not get the measurements you need. And he agreed.
Yeah, I was going to get Tenth to repeat. Area of equal altitude for triangulation can only be performed if it's flat.
Yeah. Circle of equal altitude is used in navigation where the GP of the celestial body is over a certain part of the Earth. And in relationship to that GP is your position. So it's a circle of equal altitude. So anywhere on that circle, everyone is the same degree distance away from the GP of the sun, for example. So if you shoot the star, the sun, and you get a 50-degree angle to it, and you go to the books, and it says the sun today is right over here, its zenith. And of course, you have to note the date and the time so that you can reference it in the nautical almanac. And then you position yourself and you say, oh, I'm somewhere on the circle, the sun's in the middle, and the distance is 3,000 miles. A guy on the other side of the circle, directly across from you, is also 3,000 miles from the GP of the sun. 3,000 and 3,000 is 6,000 miles of flat. Well, we're supposed to have 8 inches per mile square drop. How does that work? You need a right angle triangle to do celestial navigation to get the GP of the sun.
You don't, in answer to your question. It has to be flat in order for triangulation to function. In other words, if you're going to triangulate the GP, which is the position below whatever star you're utilising, in this case you use the sun, and that's what's on this diagram I've got up, which is provided by 10th Man very courteously, then you've got to have a flat bottom to the triangle. Now you get your zero line before you point your sextant or theodolite or whatever star you're targeting to get whatever position is directly below it on the ground. Well, you line up your sextant to the horizon, that gives you 0, roughly, which is all you need. And then out from that, you're going to draw 3 positions with circles all around them that are described, accurately so, as areas of equal altitude. They can't not be, because it would put you in a varying position in 3-dimensional space if each of these circles were dropping away from the fix, which is where you're trying to triangulate yourself to. You look at this star, you draw a line out to its position, you get an angle to it with your theodolite, and then you do it twice more, and that gives you a position on an area of equal altitude. That would be a massive area that is all flat.
So if it wasn't, you would not be able to get your measurements correct. Am I right?
It wouldn't work if every single measurement was taken from a position that was dropping away from yourself. You couldn't do it. It wouldn't succeed.
There's a comment in chat by Level Guy. The sextant only measures the distance to the horizon. Every degree represents 69 miles, he says. Well, it uses the horizon, but its distance is beyond your eyesight. So how in the world do you see 3,000 miles away from your boat? You don't. You use the angle of the luminary in the sky, and you know by the books the exact position over the Earth at that moment that you observe it, and you note down the degrees and the time you took. And when you reference it, it says it's 3,000 miles away, but you need the horizon as the zero baseline to even start the process. The index arm of the sextant has a mirror that moves and moves the sun or the star up and down. The horizon mirror is fixed on the sextant. You need a horizontal, a plane, a straight, a zero base, or you can't get your angle for that right angle triangle to occur. So just because you're limited in your eye to the horizon you see, that doesn't mean it doesn't continue for another 2,900 miles or 2,900 and whatever miles past what you're able to see.
Yeah. And something that was difficult to drum into Akumvarus's mind was that you need a 90 degree in order to do this triangulation. So the angle from you to the star is going to be met at its geographical position. That would be the zenith of the star, if you want to look at it in that way, with a 90 degree at that. It is GP, isn't it? I am getting the terminology correct, aren't I?
Yeah, the GP of this. You have a GP where you are directly over the Earth somewhere, and the star has a GP where it's directly over the Earth somewhere.
Okay, so this is the star, and this is the GP. Now, you're going to be here, measuring with a theodolite, out to the horizon, which might be here in Muppet Vision. That's the limitation of your view, because the star might be thousands of miles away in terms of its geographical position below, with a 90 degree angle to your position. That's you pointing at the horizon. All you take into account is the dip, which is how high above the water or whatever it is you're looking at you are. But beyond that, you're utilising that horizon as a straight line, so you can get 90 degrees to the star with the angle your theodolite gives you. That's how triangulation works. You do that 3 times, you get a fix. You know where you are.
Yeah, notice the image of what a 90 degree is. To have that little square box, it's the only time they ever use it for an angle. What's that bottom line? Does that look curved to anyone? You need a perpendicular for a 90 degree, 2 straight lines to have that box. You can't tell me that you're shooting a star in the sky at a certain angle and the books tell you it's 3,000 miles away, and change that bottom line to a curved line and try to achieve triangulation with a curved line. No one could ever get an angle with 2 straight lines meeting at a corner, creating a vertex. Angles are impossible. Oh, did I fail to mention sextant is a tool that derives angles between 2 objects? So the tool is for angles. And if you can't get angles without 2 straight lines meeting at a corner, a vertex, how in the world are you getting it then? Certainly not on the curved surface.
Well, we don't got the 2021 angle, the curved angle. That level is curved, so can angles be curved now? It's 2021.
Have they resorted to that, Chocolate, where straight is curved and curved is straight and words have no meaning anymore?
Right, so
yeah, they said all those things.
We've got types of angle. I don't know who posted this in Masterpiece, but thank you whoever did it. But each of these angles represented, with the exception of what could be described as a complete angle, that would be a zenith in our descriptions, right? Well, each of these lines along the bottom, sorry, there's a window cleaner outside my window, aren't curved. And for them to generate what is known as an angle, they are straight lines. Doesn't matter which way they're pointing. But if you're trying to get an angle to a star from your position, and you're going to try and calculate with a 90 degree angle the GP of that star, the line along the bottom must be straight to get the angle. Not a curved line. None of them are curved regardless of the angle being measured. They've all got a flat bottom. And when you perform triangulation, you're not just going to be assuming it, you're going to be measuring a flat plane to get your position. And if you weren't, you wouldn't get it.
No 8-inch per mile squared. That's why y'all scared to have this become mainstream. So as a result, we've transformed into nightmares, waking folks from the daydream. Word up.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was
That's
good.
a wrap. That's a wrap, Chocolate.
True. That's why they're not here, right? Because we've transformed into nightmares, waking folks from this daydream that they're in. That's why it's so quiet. Have they figured out? I know you're about to round out the show, but did they figure out if there's drift or no drift? Or did I miss that?
Let's get ready to rumble! well, in the blue shorts we have Blue Marble Science with one reference frame. Ding, 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 ding. And in the red corner we have Neil deGrasse Tyson with 2 reference frames. Who will win this bout? Only one man can leave the cage.
Yeah, that's hilarious, man.
You tell me, who's your money on? Neil deGrasse Tyson with his 2 reference frames, or is your money on Blue Marble with his single reference frame? This is a fight flat earthers have no horse in. That was a bit of a
Sounds
dodgy...
like they've ruined their own reference frames, Nathan.
They certainly seem to have, because Simon Dan's on Blue Marble Science, going around showing people examples with no drift and telling people that their reference frames are ruined. Bearing in mind we as flat earthers don't have any.
If we don't have any horse in the race, then why are we chomping at the bit?
No, it's horse in this fight. Don't get it mixed up.
Whatever. We're still chomping at the bit.
You said Simon Dan's. This a tag team match now?
No, it's a versus match, not a tag. Oh, I see what you mean with Blue Marble and Simon Dan. Yeah, tag team. We've got Penn State and NDT and generally everyone who's actually got the globe rhetoric correct, saying there's 2 reference frames, 15 degrees an hour drift. Some of the globe anti-flat earthers do understand this because they go around thanking Bob and saying specifically 15 degrees an hour drift. So some of them get it. Others, like Simon Dan and Blue Marble, say no drift, 1 reference frame, nothing to see, no effect to observe. Why would you, that'd be Neil deGrasse Tyson, expect Earth to turn underneath? And I quote, Earth does not turn underneath, end quote, Blue Marble, 1 reference frame. Who'll win this fight between NDT and Blue Marble? Only you can tell.
It'd be interesting if NDT wins, because he'll have that mic drop moment and call the other side the B word.
Yeah, if NDT wins, he'll be calling Blue Marble his bitch. We'll swoop in at that particular time and say, hey, NDT, if Earth turns underneath a football, then it'd also turn underneath aeroplanes and drones and bullets and hot air balloons and you if you jumped up and down. And we don't observe that effect. We'd shorten flight times as well. If you had a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles and Earth was turning beneath it, it'd get there in an hour and a half. But it takes 4.5 hours because Earth's definitely not rotating underneath anything, Mr. Tyson. What kind of stupidity is this? You think Earth turns underneath? Not even the anti-flat earthers think that. We've got Blue Marble on our side, Mr. Tyson. He makes it clear, quote, Earth does not turn underneath, end quote, Blue Marble. So Earth's not turning underneath Blue Marble. No, that's right, Neil deGrasse Tyson. You need correcting by your own side of anti-flat earthers who say no drift.
Please, let's get it right. He said, Nathan, we're not on a roundabout.
No, we certainly are not. And with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. A massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, hit the PayPal link, became a member, and all that good stuff. Also, of course, a massive thank you to today's Discord and G Plus panel for making today's live show possible. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!